Welcome to the deep dive. We've got a really interesting source today, based on something you shared. It's a YouTube video,
Yeah, from the Speak Confident English channel.
right? Titled "Think in English and Speak Faster in Conversations. Stop Translating."
Hmm.
And it really hits on something I think a lot of listeners learning English feel, that frustration.
Oh, definitely. Where you understand everything perfectly well.
Exactly. But then when it's your turn, your brain is scrambling, translating from your first language.
Yeah, and it slows you down. You miss the moment,
You
maybe.
miss the flow, totally. So this video tackles that head on.
It does. It's all about how to stop that mental translation.
So that's our mission for this deep dive, really, to unpack the actual practical steps the video suggests for making that switch,
Moving from translating to, well, actually thinking in English.
which, as the video points out, is key for boosting fluency and just feeling more confident when you speak.
Right. And they bring up this concept, automaticity.
Automaticity, explain that a bit.
It's basically getting to a point where speaking English doesn't feel like this huge effort.
So it's less conscious work.
Exactly. It's more like a reflex. You're not bogged down by the translation process.
So the video is kind of a roadmap to get there.
Yeah, essentially. It frees up your brain, so you can focus on what you're saying, the nuances, not just how to say the words.
Okay, interesting. So where does the video start? It must address the elephant in the room, right? That this isn't easy,
Oh, absolutely. That's the first major point, setting expectations.
right? This isn't a quick fix.
Not at all. It stresses that shifting how you think, especially after years of doing it one way, it takes time.
Right.
You need persistence.
Patience, too, I imagine.
Definitely patience and practice. Lots of consistent practice.
Uses an analogy, doesn't it?
It does. A really good one, actually. Compares it to training for a marathon.
Okay, yeah, I could see that.
It just drives home that point, you
Yeah.
know. Anything really worthwhile, any big achievement, it usually takes sustained effort.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's worth thinking about for anyone listening. Something you achieved that you're proud of. Chances are it wasn't a walk in the park. It took work.
Exactly. Like learning an instrument or getting good at a sport or even just finishing a tough project.
So those smooth, easy English conversations, they're achievable, but you got to put in the miles, so to speak.
Precisely. That's the foundation. Understanding it's a journey.
Okay, so once we accept that, what's the first actionable thing the video suggests?
Strategy 1, start small.
Yeah.
Really small, actually.
How small are we talking?
Just consciously naming things around you
Yeah.
in English.
So like right now, I think microphone, screen, water bottle.
Exactly. As you walk around, as you sit at work, in the kitchen, just mentally label what you see. Chair, window, tree, cloud.
Okay. And the video explains the benefit of this.
Yeah, it's kind of twofold. First, it makes you pull up vocabulary you already know, like actively retrieve it.
Right, forces recall.
And second, maybe even more importantly, it immediately shows you where the gaps are.
So if I look at something and draw a blank,
That's gold. That tells you exactly what word you need to look up later. It's like targeted learning.
it's sort of bypassing the translation step right from the start. Visual cue to English word.
That's the idea, rewiring that connection.
And the video says go beyond just the noun.
Yeah, it suggests adding details, colors, textures, shapes.
So not just cup, but white ceramic cup. Not just book, but thick blue hardcover book.
Exactly. It starts building descriptive vocabulary right away.
And the beauty is, you can do this literally anywhere, anytime. No pressure.
Super low stakes, constant, gentle engagement with English.
It even suggests jotting down the words you don't know.
Yeah, make a quick note, look it up later, which leads nicely into the next strategy, actually.
Okay, what's strategy 2?
It's called build word pictures.
Word pictures. So moving beyond just naming the object.
Right. Now you're creating mental descriptions or maybe associations connected to that object, going deeper than the single word.
Okay, give me an example. The video used one. Right?
Yeah, a really relatable one. A box of tissues.
Okay, a simple box of tissues. What's the word picture?
Well, you start with the basics. Rectangle, blue, cardboard, maybe empty or full.
Right, physical attributes.
Then you connect it to related ideas or actions like cold, sick, sneeze, blow your nose.
So things associated with using tissues.
Exactly. Throw away, need to restock, maybe even the bigger concept of flu season.
It's like creating a mind map almost, centered on the tissue box.
That's a great way to put it. Little mental spider web. You start visualizing the whole scenario.
Even without full sentences, Just those related words paint a picture.
Precisely. And the video explains this is how you really expand that network of associations.
You're not just memorizing isolated words.
No, you're understanding how they fit together in context, broadening your vocabulary naturally.
Okay, that makes sense. Moving from objects to associated concepts. What's next? Strategy 3.
Strategy 3 shifts focus a bit. It's about connecting new vocabulary to the context where you first learned it.
Why is that connection important?
It's about creating a kind of mental anchor, a snapshot. Remember when and where you heard or read that new word or phrase?
So not just a dictionary definition.
Right. The video uses the example of learning the word savvy. Maybe you heard it in the break room.
Okay.
Someone was talking about a colleague who was really tech savvy, picking things up quickly.
So you remember the break room, the conversation, maybe even who said it.
Exactly. That whole context, the place, the situation, the topic acts as a memory hook.
So later, when you hear savvy, you might recall that break room scene.
Yes, and that helps you remember the meaning, but also, crucially, how it's used, the right situation, the right tone.
Got it. So it embeds the word in a real-world context, not just an abstract definition.
Precisely. Makes it much stickier and more usable.
Okay, naming, associating, contextualizing. Now, strategy 4 sounds like a bigger step. Complete your thoughts.
It is. This is where we move from single words and concepts into forming actual sentences.
Starting simply, I assume.
Very simply, the video recommends beginning with basic structures like I see.
Okay, so using those word associations from strategy 2.
Exactly. Take that tissue box example again. You had words like blue, rectangle, cold, sneeze, empty.
Right.
Now you string them into simple sentences. I see a blue rectangular box of tissues.
Okay.
It reminds me of when I had a cold. I was sneezing a lot,
Now the box is empty.
so I need to buy more. Simple, connected thoughts.
And the video emphasizes practicing this.
Yes, actively. It suggests writing these sentences down, maybe keep a dedicated notebook.
And saying them out loud.
Definitely saying them aloud. That helps build the muscle memory for speaking.
Right, the physical act of forming the sounds.
And there's another tip here, recording yourself.
Ooh, they can feel awkward.
It can, but the video points out it's incredibly valuable. You get objective feedback.
How so?
You can listen back, check your pronunciation, the rhythm, the flow, see where you stumble.
That's true. It's like your own personal coach.
Exactly. And they also mention their website, Speak Confident English, for more resources if people want structured training.
Okay, good to know. So we're building sentences. What's strategy 5? Dig deeper and apply.
This one's about getting into the nuances, moving beyond just basic sentences or literal meanings.
So like understanding idioms or specific phrases.
Exactly. Grasping the specific context where a phrase is really appropriate, developing that intuition.
What example does the video use here?
It uses the common expression to be in over one's head.
Okay, like when you've taken on too much.
Right. And the video suggests actively thinking about a real situation, maybe at work, where you might actually use that phrase.
So imagining talking to a colleague about feeling overwhelmed by a project.
Precisely. You pinpoint that one specific context first.
And
Then you brainstorm other similar situations where that same phrase would fit naturally.
so you're building a sort of mental library for that expression.
Exactly. You move from just knowing the definition to really understanding how and when to deploy it effectively in conversation.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Now, strategy 6 feels like classic advice. Immerse yourself.
It is classic, but the video breaks down what that means practically.
So more than just moving to an English-speaking country.
Oh, yeah. It's about actively engineering your environment, making English unavoidable almost.
How?
Watching English movies and TV shows, obviously, but actively watching.
Okay.
Reading in English books, articles, news, making a conscious choice.
Simple things too, right? Like phone setting?
Yes. Change your phone, your computer, your social media to English. Constant exposure.
And the crucial part, talking to people.
Absolutely vital. Seeking out chances to actually speak English. With friends, colleagues, classmates, whoever.
What if you don't have people around you who speak English well?
That's where the internet comes in. The video suggests finding online speaking partners.
Language exchange sites.
Yeah, or joining online communities or forums focused on your interests, where English is the main language. They mention their own Confident Women community, too.
So create the opportunities if they don't exist locally.
Exactly. The goal is constant exposure and active use.
Okay, that leads us to the final strategy, number 7, dive deep and discuss.
Yeah.
Sounds more intense.
It is a bit more involved, yeah. It has two main parts.
What's the first part?
Choosing topics you're genuinely interested in, things you actually want to learn about.
Okay.
And then really going deep, not just reading one article, but maybe several. Listening to a few podcasts on the subject, watching a documentary.
So really saturating yourself in a specific topic.
Exactly. You're engaging deeply, not just skimming.
And the second part, the discuss part.
This is key. You take all that information and understanding you've gathered, and you talk about it with someone.
Making it active.
Precisely. The video points out a huge benefit here. When you dive deep into one topic from multiple sources.
You start seeing the same vocabulary and sentence structures again and again.
Yes, but in slightly different ways, different contexts.
That repetition must be powerful for learning.
Incredibly powerful. It helps move those words and structures from passive understanding, things you recognize, to active use, things you can actually say.
And discussing it forces you to retrieve and use them.
Right. And the video stresses finding a practice partner you trust, someone you feel comfortable making mistakes with.
Reduces the anxiety.
Totally. So you're more willing to try out new words, more complex sentences, and you might even get some gentle feedback.
Okay, so those are the 7 strategies. How do you know if they're actually working? How do you see progress?
Yeah, the video touches on some really encouraging signs, things to look out for.
Like what?
Well, you'll probably notice you're translating in your head less often. That internal monologue starts to quiet down.
Okay, that's a big one.
You might also find you pause less. Fewer of those long, searching hesitations when you speak.
Speech becomes more fluid.
Exactly. And your sentences might naturally start getting a bit more complex, more detailed.
You find yourself able to express more subtle ideas.
Yeah, more nuanced. Those are all really positive signs that you're shifting towards thinking directly in English.
But it's not always smooth sailing, right?
Yeah.
The video acknowledges getting stuck.
Oh, definitely. And it normalizes it, which is great. Getting stuck is just part of learning a language. Everyone does it.
So what's the advice for when that happens? You're mid-conversation and your mind goes blank on a word.
The first thing is, don't panic. Just pause for a second. Take a breath. Try to pinpoint what word or idea you're stuck on.
Okay, identify the roadblock. Then what? In the moment.
Try a couple of things. Can you use a synonym, a word with a similar meaning?
Okay, circumlocution lead.
Sort of. Or can you define it? Describe the concept using simpler words you do know.
Keep the conversation moving, basically.
Exactly. Don't let that one word shut you down completely.
And for your own learning, after the conversation.
Make a note. Mentally or physically write down that word or concept that tripped you up.
So you can target it later.
Yes, that's a goal and opportunity. Go back, maybe read an article about it, listen to a podcast on that topic. Actively build your knowledge around that specific point. Turn the struggle into a learning moment.
Right. So as we wrap up our deep dive on this Think in English video, what's the main takeaway, the core message for our listeners?
I think the fundamental message is that, yes, making this shift to thinking in English is totally possible and really rewarding.
Right, buddy.
But it's a process. It takes time. It takes consistent practice applying these strategies, and it takes being patient with yourself.
Don't expect miracles overnight.
Exactly. Start small, like the video says. Pick 1 or 2 strategies and just begin. Keep at it.
It brings back that marathon analogy, doesn't it? Or the video also used one about a hike.
Yeah, a strenuous hike with ups and downs. Some days feel like great progress. Other days feel like a struggle. That's normal.
Progress isn't always linear.
Not at all. The key is consistency and using these techniques.
And the video also encourages celebrating the wins.
Yeah.
Right?
Definitely. Those moments when you have a conversation, express yourself well, and realize afterwards, hey, I didn't even think about translating.
Acknowledge that progress.
Absolutely. Those are huge milestones, even if they seem small. They show the rewiring is happening.
Okay, so here's something to leave our listeners thinking about. Looking at these 7 strategies we've talked through, which 1 or 2 really jumped out at you? Which ones feel like they fit your current learning style or address the specific thing you're struggling with right now?
Yeah, that's a great question. Which one resonates most?
And maybe think, how could you realistically start weaving just one of those into your daily routine? Maybe even starting today or tomorrow.
Just taking that first small, consistent step.
Exactly. Because engaging actively with even one of these could start a really positive cycle in your English learning journey, couldn't it? Moving you closer to thinking and speaking with that confidence the video talks about.